What's up, guys? It is Will here, back again for another episode of Lights, Camera, Keco, Riley Reviews, Collects. Guys, we're here with an amazing Avengers level panel. It is Friday, August 11th, 2023, 5:18 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're, of course, going to lead into the weekend nice and I guess you could say smooth. I don't know. We have a pretty smooth panel here, so I think it's going to be a pretty smooth show. And, of course, we got two different ladies, man, here. Keco is taken, but Riley... I think Riley's available. So for the ladies that are Riley, for the ladies that are watching, I think it's going up a little bit. It originally was like 2 to 3%, and I think now it's about 4%. So
wow,
I need to get those female numbers up a little bit.
Not 18% though. You're not
bro,
there yet.
Is yours really 18%?
It is,
dude. But it's because of the shorts, bro.
It's the shorts.
So that's
what watching the shorts, I guess.
Dude, I don't know, Riley. We talked about this. I don't know if Keco knows this. I looked at the analytics, bro. You're 100% right. I looked at my shorts, and the women percentage, female percentage was much higher. So I'm like, do females have a shorter attention span on YouTube?
Maybe.
Because they go for the fucking shorts, but they don't watch any of the other shit. Like,
right.
I don't know, bro. It's crazy to think about. Anyway, we'll talk more about it. But guys, before we address the chat, Mr. Keco Collects, how are you doing this fine Friday evening? Because that display is looking real disco and amazing as always behind you, bro.
Well, thanks, Will. It's great to be back here today. I'm excited to be able to put my input into the channel today on the WillFoxification show. But I'm going to be honest with everybody. I'm a little bit tired today, mainly because I think I've shared this before. I have come to a stalemate, essentially, of how to handle the neighbor that lives behind me. And I've told you this. He doesn't even live there. I can't wait for these people to tune in one day to see me talking shit about them. But like, I can't wait for that. Is that my neighbors behind me have their dad living with them? Okay, like I don't know the situation. It could be a sensitive situation. I don't know. I'm just saying. All I know is that this has been going on for like a year now, and I'm fucking tired of it. So we have. You've been to my crib, obviously. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The house behind my fence or whatever. But it's the only house in the entire neighborhood that's like on a hill. So no matter what, my privacy fence does not keep me private at all, because if you sit on the neighbor's back porch, you are staring right into my eyes, and all the time. Now, everyone's got their vices. Everyone's got their habits. I know I have mine. You have yours. But this guy's habit is smoking 24 hours a day. And I don't even care the fact that you do smoke, vape, anything like that. I don't care. But the fact, or how often you do it, your body, your choice, whatever you want to do. But it's when you're doing it nonstop, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., literally sits out there 24 hours a day and just sits there, okay? That's fine, but I got weens, all right? And so when they go out there and they hear, dude coughing up a lung, they bark. And they did it again this morning at like 3 a.m. because that's like their potty time. That's just the way they do it. I know you say that's too early, just keep them inside, but I can't do anything about it.
No,
so they go out there, and of course, homie is sitting out there with his giant black labs. Why are they out there just chilling, smoking secondhand smoke as well at 3 a.m.? And so as soon as they hear the then Drago, he goes off, and then Cindy goes off, and then the entire neighborhood goes off. And I was like, I came in, I was like, that's it. I told Amy, I was like, that's it. I'm getting there. I'm sitting there. I'm gonna light this fucker up. And she's like, Kevin, just calm down. She starts rubbing my hair or whatever. She's like, just calm down. If you need to give him the what for in the morning, do it in the morning when you're calmed down. Just like, it's gonna be okay. The neighborhood already knows. I'm like, maybe. I don't know. So that's why I'm a little bit tired. That's why I'm a little bit agitated, because I've been up since like 2:30 because I couldn't go back to sleep at that point. And I'm just so tired of this situation. Like, damn, help me, somebody. Does anybody have any thoughts of what I can do? Because it's my house. You know, I can't go out there and be like, hey, you know, go inside to your house, and hey, you know, you're not allowed to be outside or whatever. And I can't call the HOA and be like, hey, a man standing outside in his own yard. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so like, I am so like flabbergasted because I don't have a solution, because I don't want to be the neighborhood dick telling the man that potentially is just like dying potentially because he just wants to sit out there and smoke his life away. I'm like, cool.
Right.
Like, I don't want to go back inside, sir. Well, they're trying to kill my weens. Like, what do I do?
I think you're gonna have to go to him in a calm state and just address him very casually.
Not at 2:30. Not at 2:30.
Yeah, and just be like, hey man, like, you know, introduce yourself. Be like, hey, I'm Keco Collects, and you know, and just say like,
I'll ask if he's subbed first.
Yeah,
have you
subbed? Did you like? Did you comment before I continue my point? And then, you know, and then other than that, bro, just be like, hey man, like, you know, I know you're doing your own thing out here, but I just have the weens and, and it's maybe throwing them off and stuff. Is there any way like maybe we could work something out or something? And then if it's like
go smoke in the front yard at like 1 a.m. or whatever. You don't have to do it on the back porch. But do you think that's too much to ask? I know this is your house, but can you smoke in the front yard in the early morning?
Yeah, I mean, or if there's like some sort of compromise, like whatever the time is, right? Yeah,
I really feel like between the hours of 1 and 3, I should have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, 1 and 3 a.m. Yeah, absolutely. All I can think of, Keco, I don't know if you've seen it, that Andrew Tate meme where he's like, breathe air.
Yes.
So I got my baby. He's like, breathe air. Yeah, that's
one. So last week it was Joe Burrow and Big Dick Energy. This week it's smoking and fighting the neighbors. So you never know what you're going to get.
Well, we're fighting secondhand smoke on the stream.
Correct.
So, we gotta do good things here. So yeah, Alden Wywood said Xanax. I don't know if that'll work, but you could. I mean,
I think I need a prescription for that. So.
Yeah, get a prescription, guys, before you do anything like that. Anyway, bro, we'll figure it out, Keco. We'll come up with some problem-solving tactics, dude. We'll talk to Amy. Amy will know, man. It's by the way, before we get to Riley, I love that Amy posted that broccoli Instagram story, and she was like, "Put me on the podcast." She was like, "No," she was Riley. She was so thrilled, bro, that we talked about her for like the first 5 minutes of the show.
Really? Oh my god,
bro.
That's hilarious.
We'll put her on here at one point. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway, Riley, dude. How many ladies are you with currently right now?
Oh, there's just too many. I can't.
See, that's the thing, bro. I knew you'd say that.
Always, man. You already know.
Did you wear the Clone Wars jacket, Riley?
I did. On the first date, always. You have to have the Clone Wars jacket. It's the sex appeal. They like it.
See, Keco, I think you can confirm that, right? It worked for you, right?
100%. But I also appreciate that Riley is pretty much putting out there the message, what he needs at the very beginning. He's wearing a BJ's shirt. So
no, Riley. Doesn't stand for that. Doesn't stand for that.
Make your needs known right away, Riley.
Keep that closed. But thanks for having me.
Side note, great restaurant, by the way.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that where you work, by the way? Sorry.
Yeah. This
sweet. I love this.
Awesome.
It's actually a dual purpose shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, maybe not. Oh my god, Will. Anyways, thanks for having me on, man. What an intro for Keco. I can't wait. I mean, how hilarious would it be if that neighbor comments just later. He's just blasting me. What the hell?
He's gonna be like, you fuckers.
Exactly. No, but I'm having a great Friday. Can't wait to be on. We got some fun topics to discuss. And yeah, man, let's just get to it.
Dude, it's going to be fun. What if he comments and says unsubbed? Like, dude.
Then I will go and apologize. But I'll tell you what, man, I feel like the cold opens to these streams on Fridays are some of the better stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Glorious.
Yeah, we need to just do those, honestly. We'll create a separate podcast and just do that.
DJs, all of it, I guess. Yeah.
It's true, man.
BJ's and Clone Wars.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with the BJ. I mean, and I'm talking about the store, obviously. The store.
The store is amazing.
Yeah, the store. Of course. We got a super chat right away. Paul R., thank you so much, bro. I'm going to give you the applause for super chatting the channel that early. Thank you so much, sir. Very kind of you. LMAO, Keco doing the voices in the Bad Neighbor skit is just the best, bro. It is, man. It is.
But sadly, it's not a skit. It's reality.
It is reality. Well, sometimes skits are a reflection of reality. So
that's fair.
That's what we can say. So, Paul, thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you, man. That was very nice of you. Thank you for being here. We got some messages. I'm going to get to these as quickly as I can. Connor, looking forward to this one. Thank you so much, Connor. We're looking forward to having you, of course, and hosting you. Peachy Patty Joe. Thank you so much, Peachy Patty Joe. It's Friday. It's exciting. It's fun. It's showtime. Hi, everyone. Let's go. And, dude, ever since I got these Module cases, I don't know if you have this issue, Riley. Gnats fly around in here because it's the lights, bro. They go up. They go after. I don't know if it's a Maryland thing. Like, what the fuck?
I don't have gnats here, but yeah.
I don't know. I got to get these bitches. Sean Breeze Collectibles. Good to see you, Sean Breeze. He's the man. He's such a nice dude. Safel. Nathan Alker, the man himself. Nathan, the man of, he makes amazing bases, actually. So, guys, check out Nathan. Han Solo Shot First, I think that's his store name. Nathan, you might have to let us know, but it's amazing. D17 Collectibles, hello all. Friday has arrived at last. It has. Rome Moreno is here, the man himself. Good to see you, Ro. Swoosh. Dinesh, good to see you, bro. Good to see you, Dinesh. Love you, man. Gilbert Almazim, TGIF, absolutely eclectic collector. AG Agarusa, Maxim M, Joe Geista, Be Real, collector Joey is in the house. Jose Fernandez, Akira, first time watching the live stream. Well, thank you so much, Akira, for the first time watching the live stream. Hopefully, we'll provide you good entertainment. Hopefully, the cold open was satisfactory because Keco's going to solve his neighbor problems. So, and Riley's going to solve his BJ problem with that shit.
Oh my God.
It's going to be worth it. So, yeah.
Saw it coming.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Anyway, guys. All right. So, I'm going to try to get to the first topic of the evening because I don't want to waste too much time. That said, we did get some announcements, right? And one of them is actually one. So, Keco, I got to start with you on this one. This is the Moff Gideon figure from season 3 of The Mandalorian. So, I want to ask the question. I mean, he's $280. This is clearly a new head sculpt. It's not a reused portrait. So we got to give them credit for that, right? They didn't simply reuse the same portrait. But I'm wondering, does anyone give a fuck? Because it's Riley and Q. It's Mando season 3, right? Is it too little too late? If this figure had maybe gone up a little bit sooner, but even then, I watched Mando at Keco's house for 1 or 2 of the episodes, I think. And we were a bit disappointed with it overall. I was disappointed with season 3. Some people love it. I get that. If you love it, more power to you. But Keco, are Mando season 3 figures going to crash and burn? What do you think? I mean, it doesn't have the same hype it had before.
Star Wars in general doesn't have the hype that it has before, and Mando has pretty much fallen off. Like, I don't think anyone even cares at this point. Maybe it's like the fact that Ahsoka is coming, and Ahsoka's been the darling of the fan base for quite some time. Sure, but let's talk about the elephant in the room. That was a really, really suspect season, and having a year and a half, 2 years to really iron out the details after coming off the high of, the Luke Skywalker coming and taking Grogu away, completing that story, that left so much to be desired. So then you switch over to Book of Boba Fett, who then undercuts that character arc by throwing Mando into it, bringing Grogu back, throwing Ahsoka in it with some deepfake Luke Skywalker to say, hey, we can do this again. And then ultimately just forcing them right back into the same situation with Mando season 3. Sure, you can say like, wow, look at this character arc with Bo and all that stuff. But people really didn't sign up for that. Like, that's fine if they're going to make her the Mandalorian, whatever we're going to be. But I just still remember the final scene where it does that's all, folks, and it like does the circle. Like, that was so weird. They did the same thing in Indiana Jones, like at the very, very end. I was like, okay, why are we doing this? Like, this is so comically bad. And that brings me to this character, is that I don't think there is any hype for any Mando season 3 or any Mando stuff at this point. It just is really flatlined, especially this moment. We talk, Riley's here, perfect. We talk about how mid the Batman is or whatever. This is like the most, this is like even more mid figure. You have some Snoke guards that are not very well received in the fan base, just with some Mando helmets on. Everyone's like, oh, look how they're tying the sequels together. And they're like, okay, because that's going to upset some people anyway, because they don't want any ties to the sequel trilogy. So that's fine. But then you have this come through, and you're like, oh man, it's the Moff DeLorean. This is so cool. And that's the scene right there where he's got his helmet off and he's standing like, as the Star Destroyer crashes into him. I was like, what an unceremonious way to go out. And I was thinking about this when I saw this figure tease, this specific one. Mm-hmm. And I remembered how excited I felt at the end of season 1, where Moff Gideon climbs out of the TIE fighter with the Darksaber, and you're like, this is so cool, because we're pulling the Clone Wars in, we're pulling Moff Gideon in. This dude's a badass. He survived this whole thing, and wow, I can't wait for season 2. And it really set up some stakes. And then you have him come back for like the last episode and a half, cut his mustache off, which is weird. I was like, I never understood why they did that.
They were like, shave that thing.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about him in season 1 and 2, is like the twirl of the evil mustache. That was fine. And so now this is just like the blandest. I just don't care, and that's just a lot coming from me. Like, Ahsoka could suck. It really could. We can maybe talk about that in another topic or whatever, about some of the things I'm looking forward to from there. But I've moved on. I do not give a fuck about, man. And I'm the biggest. I got Star Wars shit everywhere. You know that. Yeah. But like, season 3 ended so poorly for me that this is the last thing I want to see. It's like, oh, let me put another trophy of stupidity onto my shelf. That way I can say, wow, let's set this here to show a symbol of mediocrity of what a terrible character arc is. This would just be essentially me putting, Rose Tico on the shelf, because that's essentially what happened with this character. It's a shame. You thought Snoke was bad? This is worse.
Yeah, dude. See, dude, honestly, bro, I'm really not far off from where Kiko's at, because I like the look of this armor, and I'm seeing some comments like from Caesar saying like he likes the look of this armor, but he's not really connected to this version of the character. And again, maybe this is going to be the definitive Moff Gideon, because we all know how this ends for him, right? So maybe it was a clone, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Star Wars pulls some shit all the time. Like, Darth Maul got cut in half and survived with his hatred. So I don't know, bro. Like, they'll pull anything just to keep a character alive. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I just think season 3, for one, I think the only way you would get most people to give a fuck about the season 3 figures is if you make a Mando that's so good it's hard to ignore. Like maybe it's diecast, right? And you say, oh shit, everyone wants a diecast Mando. The Chrome one was cool, but now it ain't that cool anymore, right? That's the only way.
Be careful on the weathering because people are going to complain about that too.
Well, that's true. But this Moff Gideon, for example, like does it look cool? Yes, does it look cool? But again, it's going to have to do more than that for most people, most collectors who actually buy it, who are limited in what they buy. And of course, prices are rising for a lot of people. There's more great options than ever for a lot of people. So again, it's going to have to do more than just look cool for most collectors. So I would assume this one's probably going to wait list pretty quickly. I would assume this is going to be one where they're going to be like, they're not going to get a ton of orders over the first couple weeks. And they're going to be like, okay, it's Grand Inquisitor like, right? I think it could be like that. I think this could be a very limited figure in that respect. But Riley, I want to get you to jump in on this one. What do you think about this one? And of course, Mando, the prospect of Mando season 3 figures.
So, after Keco absolutely annihilated it, I want to talk about some good stuff.
Okay.
Let's try and spin it on some positive.
Let's do it, bro.
No, but I agree with Keco for the most part. I'm just
but, I appreciate the yin and yang. We need that.
We do.
No, but I mean Keco's right. This certain for me, I really did love this look. I mean, once we saw him in the episode, I think it's better than in season 1 look. I think this is really cool looking. I love how he has that like Mandalore helmet. It's really cool looking. But as Keco have said, the moment in where he shined and only having an episode and a half, it was a little flawed for me. It wasn't something and like you said, a lot of collectors look at that like an iconic moment. And it kind of soured me a bit, as much as I did love the outfit. But regardless, the figure does look really cool. The sculpt, I mean, we could talk about it. It's pretty amazing. I mean, they did a great job. I know, Will, you had the OG Moff Gideon on order, and then you got it in hand, and you were disappointed with it, right?
I didn't like the head sculpt, yeah.
Exactly. So you didn't like it. You ended up selling it. So this one right here, I mean, it looks pretty close to how he looked in the show. I think they did a great job here. The hair looks great. He doesn't have the twirly mustache anymore, but they did a great job. It's a really nice looking piece. I don't know if he's going to come back. If he did die in that moment, who even knows? With Star Wars, they always return. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Somehow Moff Gideon returned.
Always. I mean, we didn't see a dead body, so they're probably going to come back. But regardless, yeah, great sculpt. I like the look of the figure, but like you said, some people also mentioned it would be cool to get this sculpt and then just, well, it wouldn't really make sense because I was going to say putting this sculpt on the OG season 1 Moff, but he doesn't have the mustache. So I don't know. It wouldn't really work because you can't really exchange it. But regardless, cool looking piece.
Just take a Sharpie, I guess.
Just draw it on.
And Riley, think about it, dude. Like, I mean, the poll right now, we have 49 votes, right? But 73% of collectors right now in this poll are saying they will not buy Mando season 3 figures.
Right.
So yeah, I think that goes in.
That's pretty high.
That is pretty high for a 49 poll votes, so limited poll. So guys, vote in the poll to give us more data. But I mean, that goes to show you just how important it is that the show is actually good. The figure can look as cool as it wants. Morbius looks cool, right?
Exactly.
But does anyone give a fuck? Not really. Like some people do, and they'll buy Morbius because he looks cool. But most people are going to be like, no, I don't like that movie or I don't like that show, right? So Mando season 3 was so divisive, Riley, that I mean, I think a lot of those figures are going to suffer.
Yeah, it's going to be these type of figures will be on the back burner, especially when you have like other just so many banger announcements coming. I mean, the Midman, as Keco calls it, Darth Vader.
That is an amazing figure though, right? That Batman, the in-art one.
It is.
That one's really
Keco
good.
can at least appreciate it. That's good.
Yeah, he does.
As mid as he is, I guess. But
I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it again.
Do it, bro. Go for
it. That's G17 said the poll results would change if there was an artisan Mando. Probably, to be honest. I mean, like if you made a Mando with a rooted hair Pedro head sculpt or something and made it artisan and die cast or something, yeah, that would change everyone's opinion.
Good point.
Yeah. And maybe that's what they'll do. I mean, they teased Amanda in one of these photos, so clearly they're going to make another one.
And they showed Bo-Katan, and she has the rooted hair. So
the rooted hair. It would look like the old rooted hair, though, Riley. It looked like the
maybe
doll rooted hair. You know what I mean? Right. Like someone commented once and said, like, well, they're all doll hair. I'm like, no. I mean, if you look at Inart's hair, it doesn't look like doll. It doesn't look like Barbie hair. Like it looks. And by the way, Keco fixed this.
I was going to say.
I don't know if you just saw that, but Keco's Inart man now.
Yeah, make sure to head over to the IG or the TikTok and check out my custom work of me finally getting the balls to take brushes, chemicals, water, all that stuff to my $1,000 figure that was subpar. But yeah, I'm an Inart guy now.
Keco's pro Inart now. He fixed the hair, bro.
Switch sides.
Yeah, but guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments. I'm with you guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, though. I mean, to me, this Moff Gideon's a pass. I'm happy for the people who really want it. Again, I'm not here to shit on it. I'm just pointing out the simple fact that I think a lot of people are not going to prioritize this figure, as cool as it looks, just because of how season 3 turned out for most people. Look at the sequel figures. Most people said they looked cool, right? I love the sequel figures because I love the sequels, but a lot of people did not love the sequels and they did not buy those figures. So
keep in mind, I do own Crate Luke though.
I was with you when you fucking bought that thing.
Yep.
Dude, Riley, that was hilarious. Keco was like, I bought this as a joke, nothing more.
I know, that's why he said it all in the streams. Like, oh my god.
But it is a very good figure.
It is super
terrible character representation, but great figure.
Great figure, yeah. And sometimes it does happen that you do it that way. So yeah, and Keco is a stylist, Carl, 100%, bro, 100%. So guys, thank you so much for your thoughts on that one. Moff Gideon, yeah, I mean, I just don't sense a lot of excitement around Moff Gideon. So I guess we're going to see how that shakes out, though. But let's ask the question. Let's keep on the Star Wars thing. We got a pitch droid announcement, and I know Keco has talked a lot about this. And actually, as time has gone on, actually, I've started to actually believe that I think he's right about this. I'm not sure that the N1 is coming. I remember talking to Yost at one point. And he was like, "No, I'm pretty sure Hot 2 is going to make it." And if they didn't, he was thinking about making it, right? So maybe that will happen for the people who do want this. But I'm just confused, Keco. If you're not going to make the N1, why do these pit droids exist? I don't understand. Like, what other purpose would they actually serve in your collection if not to stand in front of the N1? You know what I mean? Is this a good sign for the N1? What do you think?
No, it's not a good sign for the N1. And as you've said, I'm right about everything. Well, it's not the fact that I was just right about the N1. Show. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the record. And the thing is that these were simply add-on pieces so they could re-release the R5 that had been in the coming soon graveyard for years. All right, R5 is an iconic OG trilogy droid. All right, with apparently he's getting much more backstory and such as the years go on. I remember actually it's right here in the that's not it actually, but have you ever read the A Certain Point of View books?
No, are they good?
They're very good, but they have one from R5D4 in there, and him talking about how he's force sensitive to a degree to where he knew to blow his top so that R2 could be taken by Luke. So interesting type of story or whatever. But anyway, they've expanded on the lore of him, but that's the whole point of this figure, was to get R5D4 out there and then justify the jack up price. And they're like, hey, people really like that Jedi Fallen Order guy. What's that little droid that runs around with him? Throw that in there. Oh, we're gonna make a Cal Kestis figure? No, hell no. Just give him the droid. I'm like, okay, cool. And do people like the Phantom Menace still? Oh yeah, it's super nostalgic. Hey, remember that pod race? Yeah, remember those little guys running around? Put one of those in there too. Call it a day. That's all this is. It's just simply a way to boost the price and the desirability of R5 for people that may not want it, and to provide false hope, because the N1 was simply a marketing gimmick to sell these. They're like,
okay.
They're like, ooh, let's go ahead and put this out there and then put show. That's what they did in the show. And they're like, hey, here we go, waitlisted. That's what happened with these, is that they got waitlisted, and because so many people thought the N1 was coming, and they can't have an N1 without these.
There you go.
Come on. So
there it is, Keco.
I think it's a weak release. I think the price does not justify the means, because, I mean, R5 is cool, yeah, but he's not R2 by any means. I think if you saw that, people were like, oh, is this a Star Wars droid? But yeah, it is. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's as much as honestly you could say about it. It's a release, right? And it's a, I know like people were saying in the chat, it's a cute droid setup, and it is, but it just doesn't do it for me. Riley, what do you think, man? Do you think these are a good sign for the N1 being made? I mean, do you see any other reason that they possibly exist?
I mean, it's an interesting question. I'd say, as Keco's just nodding his head, no, it's never happening. But I would say probably at this point, I don't think it's gonna happen, man. I was on May 4th giving my speculation. I'm like, if they don't do it on May 4th, I think it was around when Mando season 3 was around that time or something. I was like, perfect time to do it. It would be super hype. Everyone would go wild, but they didn't end up doing it. And I think that just doing it now at this point, especially with how season 3 went with Mandalorian, I just don't see it coming right now. But maybe I'm wrong. They did do like that whole video thing showcasing it, but like Keco said, it was just like a little flex, as they always do.
Well, you remember when they did the literal 1/6 scale Millennium Falcon 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, when's this going up for pre-order? I'm like, come on, y'all.
They did the TIE Fighter too. Did you see how massive it was?
Yeah, I mean, they just do those things as marketing pieces. That's all it is, and get people talking about it.
Exactly, which I personally don't like, but I do get why they do it. It does create that kind of hype and speculation. But it's even like we also, another vehicle is the Midman, his old Batmobile. They showcased it at some event a couple, like 2 months ago or a month ago, and they showed the photo of it like literally a year and a half ago or like a year ago, and still nothing. So can't really trust it, especially with vehicles. It's hard to produce. Doesn't know if it's going to sell well. So I think this would sell a little well, but like Keco also said, space reasons, people love the way it looks, but when you think of it logistically in your room, getting a piece like this, you might be like, I'm actually not going to get this as hype as I was for it. So,
well, because Riley, it's interesting because you talk about selling well. So I think this would have prior to season 3. I think if you had put this up, you would put this up because right now, think about it, dude. Think of what this is probably going to cost you. Probably $1,300 plus shipping and tax. So maybe less, maybe if you're optimistic. I think maybe it's probably going to be around $1,200 to $1,300, right? Because it's a pretty fucking big piece. It's got a ton of electronics. It's going to be a lot going on. And if it has a base like that, it could be a lot going on, right? So I think nowadays, after what season 3 just did to Mando, right? I think you'd have a lot less people signing up to buy this as you originally would have had season 3 been like season 1 and 2. No, I mean, do you think, Riley, that's true?
Yeah, for sure. I think that after season 2, the hype was just riding so high with the N1. So the fact that season 3, it's not as strong. I mean, it had some cool scenes of him inside it, but overall, it's not going to be one for a lot of people. But the actual droids themselves, they look cool. But like Keco said, like people coming into your collection, a lot of people don't really know. Like they're not really like that iconic enough to where people are like, oh, that's R5, like that's the pit droid, that's the one from Jedi Survivor. Nah, I don't think so. People are just like, oh, looks like cool Star Wars droids. But like you said, people have said, even in the chat, some people just like collecting this because it kind of represents Star Wars to them, droids and robots, etc. So I could see why some people would be for it. But for me, I saw this and I was like, oh, that's cool. But anyways, like I just went to
it's just they're accessory pieces, and that's fine. Right. They're good, but it's just, when people are ready to drop 600 to 700 on an Anakin, like it's like, how many of these can you buy at that point? Because at that point, you're dropping all your money on these other figures. And say you bought the N1, right? If that goes up, like, yeah.
What's insane to me is that because this is waitlisted on Sideshow, this is selling for like $450 at some of the Hong Kong stores.
Oh, really? Okay, the Hong Kong resellers.
Okay,
that's insane.
Exactly. I wonder if people are actually paying that. Guys, you have to let us know if you're willing to pay $450 for these droids. I mean, maybe, but hey, to each their own. But just to me, it's just I don't sense a lot of excitement about these. That's the thing. It's yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. Guys, we're going to see if the N1 gets made. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below about the pit droids. That is another release on the book. So we actually had another release, actually. It was the Iron Man. It was funny. I woke up barely and recorded my preview for it. And someone was like, oh, yeah, Will, like this is a release, actually. And I was like, oh, shit, really? Like I for sure thought it was an announcement, bro, right? I posted the whole preview and someone was like, oh, Will, like this is actually up on Sideshow because it's a release. And I was like, well, fuck me, dude, because I thought it was an announcement. I legit thought it was
That's how forgettable it was to you. You just
dude. I even commented on my own video. I was like, that's how much I follow Quarter Scale, apparently. Because like I did not fucking like, and I honestly guessed right. I was like, this is probably gonna be like $1,000, thinking I had no idea that it was already up for pre-order. It was $1,040. So I did guess that right. I was
nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. But Keco, I asked the question. Let me share another screen too before I get to you on this. Basically, I asked the question to people like, do you care about Quarter Scale? And let me go up a little bit here because, do you collect Quarter Scale Hot Toys? We had 637 votes. So guys, don't forget to vote in the polls on the channel. Love the data that we can use. 15% said yes. So, and whenever we talk, like I'm sure people are going to start tuning out now. If we talk about Quarter Scale figures, people are going to be like, oh, fuck this, dude, I'm out. Like, should Hot Toys just abandon Quarter Scale, Keco? Because I'm not sure it's really catching on. What do you think?
I was going to say yes until this morning when there's another Quarter Scale figure that just happened to be previewed. That was previewed. Yes. But I've said this before. I own 2. I've owned I don't know how many I own actually, but I own a couple. And I will not deny how cool they look. The detail is great. If you've ever seen or actually own a Quarter Scale Iron Man, I mean, there's something special for sure. But damn, the cost is extremely prohibitive. And the thing is, you can't resell them. There's have to be specific spaces for them in your collection. They're not going to fit in an average display. And as soon as you pay full price for them, they are discounted heavily down the line because no one buys them, especially this one. This with the suit up gantry with the like actual 6 scale Mark IV. That thing was huge. Multiply that up to a Quarter Scale. This thing is massive. I can't imagine where you would put. I'm embarrassed like how much space like some of my vehicles take up. Like I can't imagine how much real estate this would take up because a Quarter Scale figure is I mean, I mean, it's quarter scale. It's huge. Add some accessories with it, and then I just don't think it's practical. I just really don't. And but I do know that there are some people that say because there's only, I think we're on release number 25 or 26 at this point, quarter scale figures. There's only like 20 of them made. Granted, they're half of them are Batman, and they're all kind of reissues at some point. Let's say there's 15 good quarter scale pieces out there. So yeah, that really helps you kind of narrow down your collection to where you don't have to worry about Moff Gideon from season 3 being released and whether you have to budget for that or make the space for it. You're like, okay, no, I only do quarter scale, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm not denying the artistic ability. I'm not denying the shelf presence. What I am questioning is the feasibility of them as a company marketing these. And can we bring in the topic about the Mark III? Can I
bring it up? Yeah.
So then today, there's another quarter scale that's actually an exclusive. This one right here being the Mark III, only 300. I think it's a Shanghai or Hong Kong exclusive, only 300, and it comes with a really cool acrylic case. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense because it's a custom case essentially built for this figure. Great. But if you're going to do quarter scale figures, this is how you do it. You make it unique. You extremely limit the number of how many they're going to actually be produced, and then move on to the other things. I just have a hard time thinking that quarter scale figures are moving off the shelves anywhere in the world. Great if you have them. If you're still paying full price for them, on day one, I'm sorry for the loss that you're taking on that. But man, I don't see how you continue to do it unless you just do these limited, extremely limited pieces like this.
Right. And I actually think, Keco, because that does lead us into the other topic too, but that's totally fine. We can mesh the two together. I mean, I do think I'm almost starting to wonder in today's market that if you're going to do quarter scale, like you said, maybe you do make it exclusive. Maybe you make it something special and rare and whatever, because I never sense a lot of excitement around quarter scale Hot Toys. Do they look amazing? 100% they do. They look amazing. I had the Joker Heath Ledger figure and that wasn't even their best work. And I liked it. I thought it was a good figure. It's, but I think most people, when you get into quarter scale, you start thinking, okay, now you're probably reaching, like the comments have even said, you're starting to reach more statue collectors, and they would always opt for a statue over a Hot Toy. Hot Toy collectors don't really go quarter scale that much. They really go 6 scale. That's their bread and butter, right? So, Riley, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I don't claim to have their market data. I don't know sort of how many figures they're selling for quarter scale, but it sure as shit doesn't seem like people really care about them. What do you think?
Right. It's interesting because like Keco was saying, I mean, I think he pretty much hit the nail on the head. I think this is kind of like your best option here with the exclusive one, but the actual one itself, the regular ones are a little bit harder of a seller, at least in the US. I'm not really sure if in Hong Kong or China it's different. Maybe quarter scale is a little bit bigger there. That's why they drop these type of figures. I mean, I know Iron Man is their bread and butter over there, so maybe this is going to be anticipated for people in those areas. But for US collectors, I feel like most people steer clear from the quarter scale. Obviously, there's going to be other people out there who like them as well, but for the most part, a lot of us just, it's not really our jam. I've been tempted with quarter scales in the past because they do look really cool. As people explained, they're able to obviously have more levels of detail in these quarter scales. When you see these in hand, it's not going to be like a 6 scale figure because there's obviously a bigger canvas. It's a quarter scale figure. The head sculpts do look really great. People explain like they look even more like that HD effect with the head sculpts, and I don't blame them because it's just an easier way to paint the sculpts, etc. But like Keco was saying, this with the 300 only, that's actually a great idea. I didn't really look at it like that because when I saw this, I was like, why did they do this? Like, this is kind of weird, a quarter scale and etc. But we'll get into that. But now I kind of get like, if it is a quarter scale, limiting it to 300, now it's just like, okay, there's only 300. Maybe that will make people be like, oh, there's only 300. Now I'm actually feel inclined to get a quarter scale piece. It's limited. So it's interesting to look at. But should they abandon quarter scales in general? I don't know. That's kind of a good question. But I'd say for the most part, another thing is, like Keco said, the prices are crazy. I know the Mandalorian quarter scale, when I first started collecting, I was like, this is a badass piece. That quarter scale looks amazing. He has that Gatling gun thing. It looked really cool, but it's like, I think it was like 650. It was a wild
I paid
price.
like $675 for it. It's now like $200.
Yeah, pop culture's
Exactly.
been selling
And
that
now
thing
it's
for
like
so cheap.
ridiculously low. So that's
Shameful.
what I'm saying. It's better to wait, but it does look like a great piece. But the price, the actual just quarter scale not being 6 scale to fit in collections, it's going to ride down a lot of the hype. So maybe they should just lessen down on quarter scales.
I'm starting to wonder, Riley, because man, I just don't really sense a lot of excitement about these figures, regardless of how well they're done. I mean, they just look amazing in terms of quality.
Yeah,
But again, at this gantry, you're spending 1K for that statue.
that's
Most people, you
crazy.
could go get a Prime 1 statue for a lot of statues for that, right? Like
Yeah,
Sideshow, you can get 1 to 2 statues for that. I mean, not saying the quality's not there for this to justify the price. It is, but it's just for articulated figures, most people sort of cap out around 1.6. I feel like that's just my impression of
right.
what the community is saying. But I don't know. Hot Toys must have a reason for doing this. But I mean, as far as the gold Iron Man that we got, I mean, with 300 worldwide, I mean, are either of you guys interested in this at all? I mean, Keco, it's quarter scale. I know quarter scale is not your favorite always, but is this something
No.
you're going to grab at all because of it?
No way. No way. I mean,
Okay.
this would look good in like someone's office. Like, and that's it as the centerpiece. It's not like a, hey, let me, because you're going to put it in that case, that display case with the numbered thing on there. That way people walk in there, oh, look, this is number 3 of 300 or whatever. That's what people want to see. That's what I love about these statues or whatever, especially the numbered pieces that I have. You love being able to say, hey, you want to know what my number is? That type of thing. It's because people like that. And so this I can just see being in a one-off. If someone's gonna be like, oh man, I've really thought about these Hot Toys figures, I don't want to collect these, I don't want to get too deep in a line, but damn, I like Iron Man. And this, oh, it's only 300. I'll get this one. These are probably going to go to the extreme collectors, the people that maybe want to dabble in high-end collecting but don't want to go all in. I feel like these will go, and I may be completely wrong, this is just me speculating, but these will probably go to people that aren't as invested and don't watch these streams, but they like exclusivity and they like a good representation, and put it on some CEO shelf, and wow, that looks awesome when someone walks in.
Yeah, and from my understanding, Riley and Keco, I mean, these are not diecast figures, correct? So, it's that kind of negates it a little bit too. But I understand why, because they're so massive that if you die casted them, of course, the price would go up significantly. So at that point, people really
I didn't
wouldn't
realize
buy
the
them.
Iron Mans aren't diecast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And as far
is this not diecast? I didn't even know.
I don't
Honestly.
think it is, but I'll have to check and look again. But I'm pretty sure the quarter scale hot toy Iron Mans are generally not diecast. So I mean, it's just, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just they're plastic figures. They look fantastic, but it's just, that's a big figure. So honestly, if it were diecast, it would probably be really fucking heavy, because 6 scale Iron Man are heavy, right? And then you have a quarter scale one that's, however, like what is it, 25 to whatever percent bit larger. I mean, heavier. It's fucking huge. So yeah, exactly. So it's huge, but I don't know, man. With this gold one, guys, let us know in the chat whether you think people are interested in this one. I'm not so sure that they are, but again, it's 300, so it's no different than the Wen Wu, right? They knew the Wen Wu. They were like, oh yeah, like people love Wen Wu, but like if you put them in a suit, there's obviously the combat suit that people will prefer. So we make a very limited amount, sell those, and move on. They clearly want to make more Iron Man figures, right? They're clearly not ready to let go of Iron Man yet, so they're taking this sort of exclusive route with it. Riley, do you think, quarter scale or not, do you think this exclusive route for Iron Man figures right now is the way to go?
I would say, yeah, in a sense, at least in a quarter scale sense. For 6 scale, maybe as well. I feel like I've seen people, someone even messaged me about it. Have you noticed, like, a lot of the announcements as of recent, they always have that Hot Toys exclusive logo. So it's kind of telling you, like, in a sense, maybe they're understanding that this market isn't in the right spot. The economy is not in the right place. So now they kind of have to dial back a bit. That's just speculation. I don't know. But the fact that we just keep seeing these Hot Toys exclusive Sideshow sending these emails, there's and like you said, Will, it's creating this sort of hype, this sort of train where people want to hop on this wait list. They want to get on this. They want to get this exclusive numbered piece, because it just it makes your collection stand apart. I mean, people talk about when you have figures. I think Keco said like that. Not a lot of people have. It makes you kind of feel better. As kind of elitist as that sounds, it's kind of it's true. It's just a fact. When you have a rooted artisan Anakin that you got on Sideshow for $450, and it's like $800 or $1,000, if it does reach that point, you're gonna feel pretty good at getting at an iconic character at that price. So, in a sense, I'd say, yeah, bring it on. I think the exclusivity is better, and especially in the market we're at now. I mean, I'm still selling figures for like $200, like $190. Like, the market is in a horrible, horrible spot. So I think maybe Hot Toys, maybe Sideshow, they've been talking to each other about it and figuring out that at this very moment in time, we really have to just dial back, create this exclusivity, this hype. And I think I'm personally for it. And I think most collectors would be. I know that There are other instances though where if there is such a great character such as Anakin and Rooted, and you're kind of limiting to it to only have like a certain amount, and you have to pay the aftermarket, people do get soured out about that. You're like, oh, I love this character. I mean, it's Anakin Skywalker. That's a big deal. It's a big character, and the fact that you're limiting that, it does kind of sour people out. But regardless, I think it's the right call at the end of the day, as annoying as it is, but maybe not to make like everything exclusive. And another thing that people talk about is I wish that they would do just pre-order windows. I think that would be another great solution. Like drop an announcement for a figure, say it's exclusive, but you only Sideshow just announced you only have like a week or two to order this, and then we're not doing any more orders. We're done with that. I don't know how that would affect the market in the future, but I think that'd be a pretty cool call. But
yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, I think with this one, it does make sense though, because I don't think this one is going to be a super high demand figure if you just released it, wide release. I don't think this would be one that people would really be lining up for. But when it's 300, people will. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a niche population of collectors who go for quarter scale figures, and I just think it's not the majority of why people collect Hot Toys. Not saying you couldn't. Maybe they had to produce more offerings, more lines that people could collect. I don't know. But I generally think the figures are pricey. They're bigger. They take up more space. Like it just generally most collectors already have a 1/6 collection. It just, if you're going to collect statues, you're going to collect statues. So it's, and, I've asked the poll several times on this channel. People, I'm like, do you collect statues also? And the vast majority of people say no. So it's, that statue's quarter scale, you're getting into statue territory. So it's really not that different. So, yeah, that's what I would say. But anyway, guys, thank you for your thoughts on that one, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. That said, we did get a super chat, and I want to bring this up real quick. Austin McLean, thank you so much, bro, for the $10 super chat. He said, hope you all are doing well. Question for the panel. What's your most anticipated 1/6 figure that has been announced? Mine's either Rooted Bats, Rooted Harry Potter, or Symbiote Spies. We got 2 in art, 1 Spider-Man figure there, and then 1 Hot Toys Spider-Man figure. That's pretty great. I don't mind going first. I would say figure, probably the Pennywise. I would say probably the Pennywise, the in-art Pennywise. That's probably the one that I'm most looking forward to. I mean, there's several figures on my PO list that I'm really, really hyped about, but that in-art Pennywise I've been pretty excited for. Keco, what is the figure you're most excited for right now?
I'm going to say, because I do heavy MCU and Star Wars, I'll give you one of each. I am obviously the Multiverse of Madness Wanda, obviously. Very much excited and ready for that. Simp right here. And then honestly, it's a 2-pack essentially, because I need Rika and Tick. Those are the last 2 to complete the batch. So
pretty good choices.
Yeah, I need the rest of the Bad Batch. Can't wait for those.
Makes sense. Riley, what about you?
Well, I'm a Robert Pattinson simp, so I got to go with the Batman. The in-art. I can't wait for that one. That's one I think I'd say, my most anticipated, and obviously the Tobey Maguire Hot Toys from No Way Home. That's a pretty big one for me because even though it's a cotton candy film, as Keco puts it, I still love that.
Don't spoil your dinner.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I will say though, the Game Toys Cloud Strife from Advent Children is coming out soon. Really excited for that one too. But I would think Pennywise would be the choice for me. But thank you so much also for the super chat, bro. Thank you, very generous, and appreciate it, guys. And those are our most anticipated. That said, let's move on to our next update here. We got another piece of news. So Spider-Man 2099 major updates. Should we be more critical of Hot Toys? And the reason I ask this question is because we've talked about this a decent amount at this point, that generally the criticism works. We got an updated figure, but what's super interesting about this one, you guys can contribute to this for sure. I know you've seen a ton of it. Some people don't like this. Some people have even said they like the original better. I was like, I think you're fucking wild if you like the original figure better than this one. I'm not saying this one is perfection. I'm saying it's a lot better than the previous one. And I'm saying the constructive criticism that collectors clearly provided Hot Toys was loud enough that they had to take it seriously. That said, Keco, should we do this more often? Because, there is we want to be casual. We want to get constructive criticism. Of course, we don't want to be toxic. Toxicity is bad for the collecting, bad for the hobby. You don't want to attack the company that bite the hand that feeds, essentially, right? You don't want to do that. But when there's one like this that's so egregious that you just have to point it out, should we be more prepared to do this more often? What do you think?
I'm never going to be a proponent of storm the castle anytime you don't get your way type of thing. I think there needs to be a definite balance to that. And I think being vocal about a head sculpt that is egregious, I think is fair. If you're saying, I don't like a version of a character or something like that, but this was a fundamental departure from what Hot Toys is and has been known for their detailed movie likeness. I mean, that's a movie masterpiece series is what it was called. That was the original offering was far from a masterpiece, to say the least. It looked like a Mondo figure, Marvel Legend, whatever you want to call it. The exposed joints were very, very odd. And to see that with a price attached to it, if you were to come out and say, hey, we're going to be doing this, you know, $150 or whatever, check this out, we're going to try this with you, that's fine. But then passing it off as kind of a companion piece to the other Spider-Verse figures, that's what was so weird and off-putting. Because it's not like they've not done custom bodies before. It's not like they've done some crazy figures before. I mean, they've obviously, this was a quick turnaround if you ask me. I mean, it was what, a couple months, and they put this out there. They obviously know how to do the right thing. I just am baffled why they did it originally and why they thought that that was going to fly. I don't know who thought that that was going to fly, because we as collectors and these type of people, you know, we pay a lot of money for these products, and I think we have the right to say something, because that's why I've been so vocal about InArt. You know, I feel like I've been extremely nauseating to some people, because like, oh, here he goes again.
Karen Collects.
Yep, Karen Collects.
Karen Collects. I love that, bro. I love that.
Karen Collects was in the building until I fixed my joke. I love InArt now. I can't wait.
That's true. You're pro InArt now.
But this was, I feel, as I said, and wrapping up, was such a departure from what was the norm. It was shocking almost, because of how different of a figure that it was. And so, yeah, we should say like, y'all okay? You good? What happened? You know, something like that. And they honestly, they made it better proportions. I think you saw that. They reduced the neck size, you know, things like that. It looks film accurate now. Now, as I said, I think Riley, when he posted his preview video or whatever that is, I was like, now, all right, you whiny bitches. I don't want to hear a single person talking about bunching of fabric, not being posable, things like that, because you do have a trade-off. So whenever you are critical of something and you want something changed, most likely with that change will come some other change, some other sacrifice, some other cut somewhere to make something happen. So put your money where your mouth is, people. If you want this and you were saying, I'm not going to, here it is. If you want this now, this is the representation that will match the rest of the figures. You better buy this thing, because if not, you vote with your wallet. Don't be saying another Iron Man again, because you don't buy these. So now that they've done what you've asked, you were critical, you fixed it, they fixed it, go do something about it. Go get it. Put your money where your mouth is, because if not, you're going to get more Iron Men. And I know people are going to be very upset then.
Yeah, that does make sense, Keco. It does make sense. Dude, could you imagine more Iron Man and not exclusive? People are going to lose their shit, which we will talk a little bit more about. But Riley, I want to ask you, man, should we be more critical of Hot Toys? I mean, is this effective? Are you happy with the overall changes to the Spider-Man 2099? Because this looks like a custom body to me. What do you think?
Yeah, man, 100%. I'm so just relieved. I mean, I think I've covered like 4 different videos just kind of bashing on this figure, because I mean, the hype is there. There's a lot of people are interested in Spider-Man 2099. I mean, I understand it. There's a lot of hype surrounding this character and the figure. And like I said, like Keco was saying, at first I just made a video. I just said how I didn't like. I even put the title like the worst hot toy ever. I still think that original one was just god awful. I did not like it. And I am so happy that it got changed. It's like I was watching your video, Will, and it was so funny. You said you versus the guy she tells you not to worry.
Oh, yeah,
that's pretty much what it was, dude. Exactly.
Much.
Him, just the guy turning his head to the other one. But yeah, it's a great looking piece. It's a custom body, and like you said, once this got announced, once this update got announced, there was people saying like, oh, now it's gonna bunch, now there's creases, but like what do you want, man? There's nothing you can do. This is I think the best outcome that we could have gotten. It's definitely better than the one we had before. And I also found it interesting because there are a lot of people who did like the OG better. I had a post about it. I made a funny, just a reel about how the before and after of the original update. And people were like, oh, the before one was way better with the joints. I like it way better. I don't understand this. And some people even said like, I'm canceling it now because of the update. So it's kind of unfortunate. It kind of tells you that maybe Hot Toys they had a market there for articulated figures. I think a lot of those people who collect those are more like people have said Marvel Legends 1/12 collectors, and they're like, wow, like I'm used to seeing joints. This looks awesome. I'm gonna get it. But now with the change, you kind of just lost out on that market. But I mean, it's a Hot Toys brand. I think it was the right call regardless. Having this fully fabric suit was just, it's the right call. It looks way better. I like how it has that luminous effect. It's still cool how they included that. But I'm happy. I complained, I bitched, I moaned, as people have talked about, and it paid off. I'm gonna order this. I'm gonna get it in the collection because beforehand I wasn't gonna touch this thing. So I'm so glad it changed because I want a $29.99. I've always wanted one, and this is just gonna work.
But see, Keco, Riley bitched and moaned, but he put his money where his mouth was.
I did.
He
I put my money. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it in. So there we go.
Exactly. Although I will say I was never going to get this figure, and I bitched about it because I thought for sure that this figure, the jointed man, the jointed one, man, I'll absolutely take realism and some bunching of the fabric over that. Like Keco, I'm with you, bro, and Riley, you too, insofar as them Hot Toys putting out that jointed version and thought at any fucking point that was going to fly. I am just baffled by it. I'm just like, why did you at any point think that collectors were going to be okay with this? Like when the other figures don't look like that. If the other figures all look like SH Figure Arts or whatever, then maybe, okay, there's some consistency in line. Maybe they just don't care as much. Maybe their price lower, 170
they're taking
or
that
something.
multiverse idea to a whole other level.
Yeah, right, dude. And it's like the Spider-Man 2099 stood out like a sore thumb on versus Miles and Gwen and shit. Like it just made no sense. And I saw a good comment actually, like maybe people should have been more critical of the Miles Morales because the proportions are inaccurate. Like they almost look like they used the first body over again, which obviously is wrong because in the second one he's older. Yeah. So if people were more critical about that, they may have changed it, right? So, but now there's not enough criticism about it, so they didn't do anything because they don't feel they need to. Why would they? Because no one's complaining. So it was like Doc Ock. If there wasn't so much of a backlash, people wouldn't have changed it.
But you also can't criticize everything and pick.
No, you can't be overly critical. But.
Sure, because then they'll say, okay, well, we're going to put all of our efforts to fix this $29.99. You're whining about Supergirl. Well, we're going to probably sell more $20.99. So Supergirl's not getting the attention that we need. So you're going to have to kind of weigh, what really needs the attention to it. I hate that not everyone can get what they want as they want it. But I mean,
but I do think Supergirl will get adjusted.
Sure. I just use that as an example.
Yeah, because I'm with you though, because I think Supergirl and like IGN was covering that shit, and like all the other news sites were like, yeah, the internet's really upset about this Supergirl figure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean So we'll see, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below about the Spider-Man 2099. Are you going to pick it up? Do you like the updates? Do you think the criticism was effective? Let us know your thoughts in the chat. That's it. Mr. Batman Collectibles, thank you so much, bro, for the very generous super chat. $19.99. Riley, you're going to kill me. I'm pulling a Keco. I do not like the Jazz 22 Batmobile. Owning 66 Batmobile and 89 Batwing. 22 Batmobile looks too toyish to me. Also, smoke effect. My son's $20 Bowser toy has that same effect. Riley.
Wow.
What are your thoughts? Okay. Batman Collectibles is shots fired, bro.
I mean, I'll respect it. I mean, I know I've talked to Carlos about this as well. He's in the same boat. There are people who are saying that it looks a little too too toyish, too toy-like. And but for me, I personally love the smoke effect. I think that's really badass. I get what he's saying. The $20.
I didn't know a Bowser toy had a smoke effect, bro.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't know either. But regardless, for me, I just love the scene. And that's the only one on the market still. There's no other 6-scale version of that, so I'm still picking it up. Regardless, though, I am keeping a close eye on the how it looks because I know people have said it looks a little toyish. It does have some effects but I like the smoke effect. I think that's awesome. But we're gonna.
It's better to have it than not. But
sure.
It wouldn't make or break the purchase for me in other words. But but I appreciate Batman Collectibles. I watched Justin's review and I thought it looked pretty solid. But I'm not the biggest Batman fan for that film, so. Yeah. But I do think it looks pretty solid. I mean, and of course, for those who love the Batman, it's the Hot Toys one may never come. We don't know. So
the Midman, yeah.
I thought it would. I thought the Hot Toys would definitely make one, but they've proven me wrong, just like the N1. Yeah. So, but yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Batman Collectibles. That Batmobile, yeah, it could be a controversial one, but I guess we will see. That said, guys, let's move on to our next topic. That said. We've talked about exclusivity quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, right? And I want to ask the question, reissues have always been a topic that I think most collectors have been pretty fine with, right? I've always been fine with reissues. I've always said, okay, it's fine. Like, give collectors another chance. It's not a big deal, right? But I do think the times are changing a little bit. And I'm wondering if the age of reissues may be over. The age of 2.0s, no. 3.0s, no. They could always remake a figure. But I'm wondering if reissuing a figure, just flat out reissue, no changes, is a thing of the past. And, there are probably several reasons that you can look at as to why, maybe it was profitable for Hot Toys, but maybe in the long term detrimental, right? The Mark V, the Mark 47, the Mark 46. What other ones have they reissued? Probably several others, right?
All the Dark Knight figures.
Yeah, the Dark Knight ones. Those are like 2.0s though. But
War Machine, I think they reissued the Mark
War
II, right?
War Machine, Darth Vader, technically from the Empire Strikes Back line.
Yeah, the 40th anniversary one. Yep. What do you think, Keco? I mean, should Hot Toys be reissuing figures in the current state that we're in right now?
Well, I've done 2 videos on this before, and I don't think they are reissues. I don't think that they've. Yes, there are some reissues, but in the grand scheme of things, especially with the number of stuff they put out, I think the number still stands. I have to go back and check my data, but I think it's like 5% of all figures, maybe 4 or 5% of all figures ever get released or reissued. And of those 4, 80% are Iron Man and Batman. So if you're sitting there just fingers crossed waiting for the reissue of your favorite figure, I think that time definitely, as you had mentioned here, has certainly passed, especially with Heavy Mando 2.0, whatever you want to call that. I mean, that was literally a reissue with the shield.
And now the armor, Keco.
And now well, that's not up for pre-order. That was just shown.
But I think it probably will be. I mean, it seems like it will be.
So when none of these Moff Gideon figures are sold, then I doubt that'll go up.
maybe.
Who knows? Who knows for sure? But it's unless they're literally just taking stuff and repackaging the box and they're like, hey, we got a lot of these sitting around, because they're still sitting there. You can't even move them. I'm waiting for the reissue of Captain Marvel at this point to go with the Marvels, coming out. I mean, I just don't think it makes sense. They have so many other things they need to focus on. If you do a reissue, be like, hey, go back, do it like what Funko did or whatever. I know people are going to shoot me for thinking about comparing Hot Toys or Funko or whatever, but do like the idea of vault, the vaulted figures or something like that. Or be like, hey, we're going to do a vaulted release of Darkseid Anakin. There's going to be 300 worldwide vaulted release of, there you go. I'd be okay with that, because they are limiting it. They are bringing attention. And if you really, really want it, then you could probably try to get it or whatever. But there's too many other things coming out and there's way too much dead stock. I just don't see them just like pumping out stuff. But the only thing that could throw a wrench in that plan, as I've been saying over these past couple of weeks, if there are no movies, if there are no TV shows, they are going to have to revisit because there's no new content at that point.
It's true.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Could be. Well, Riley, what do you think, man? I mean, should Hot Toys be reissuing figures? And Keco is right. That data that he had in that video was awesome. And it was like, 5% of figures, and it's pretty much all Batman and Iron Man, right? Because, a lot of us were saying, incorrectly, including myself, saying, oh, they're going to reissue the Darkseid Anakin. They're going to do XYZ. And they didn't. And Keco was right. Keco is right sometimes. So,
sometimes. Much of an ass as I am, I do know my stuff sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. He does. But Riley, what do you think? I mean, do you expect to see any reissues moving forward in the near future?
I would say no. I don't think that we're getting reissues anymore. But like you said, yes, we'll get like their 1.5s, because sometimes they'll do something really, really sleek, like they'll add a shield with like that heavy infantry, like a 1 point. That was basically like a 1.2 or something, basically. But I think the reissue age and era is just over. And like Keco was saying, I agree with all of his points. But I also want to say that I think competition also has to deal with that. I don't think that they can really reissue just stuff anymore, because there's different companies just producing great stuff. So if they just schlocked out like a reissue of the same head sculpt with the same tailoring, I think collectors would actually be kind of pissed off. They'd be like, why would you just reissue this when you can make this better? You can do we even saw that with the Artisan Anakin. What happened when the Artisan Anakin went up? Everyone was saying, why isn't the tunic leather? Like, why is there no differences on the body? There's no changes to it. And collectors are kind of annoyed by that. So that's kind of telling you, if they're keeping the same materials as such older figures, that's not gonna let a lot of collectors pass by. I mean, Anakin, he's an iconic character, so maybe that'll let him pass by a bit. But when you're reissuing figures with the same material or the same sculpt, I just don't think at this age of collecting, it's just not going to work anymore. And the only way it could, like Keco said, is if they did like a limited thing, like they did with this Iron Man, the quarter scale, 300 or 500, because at that point, the people who had the original wouldn't really care as much because it's going to be schlocked by an exclusive band and it's probably going to go up in value. So I'd say that's the only way they can really pass a reissue. But from now on, I just think they've got to update their figures. They've got to do 2.0s because I think collectors just aren't going to be satisfied with a basic reissue.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, this Iron Man Mark 46, for example, they've already been discounting the hell out of it. And it's a great figure.
True.
It's a new base. I get that. So it's not a straight reissue, I guess you could say, because it has a new base, but it's the same
new
figure.
base and no head sculpt, though.
Right. New base and no head
sculpt. A big thing to me.
Yep, it is. Because that one had like a sort of battle damage head sculpt. It had like a black eye.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite Tony sculpts.
Good head sculpt. It's a good head sculpt. But yeah, I mean, but this is a soft reissue, I guess you could say. And it is sitting. Maybe they just made too many of them. But, that one guy, he said, reissue Mark 46, reissue Mark 46. He got his way, bro. He got his way. I don't remember who it was, but he was there every time. And I love how the comment was like flowing every time. It was like, it was replying to his own comment. Dude, it was so good, man. So good. And he got it. He did it. So he pulled it off. Yep. And look at that. You can see the exclusive in the top left. I don't know about this one. I don't know if this was that exclusive, right? Yeah. But I don't know. To me, I would say maybe reissuing figures short, like the comments have said. I agree. Remakes, 2.0s, 3.0s, whatever. I think that's welcome in today's age. If you can improve the figure in some way, but a straight reissue in today's market, I think that would be highly questionable. The only thing, like Keco said, is if Disney and Bob Iger, Papa Iger are like, you know what? Let's reel back on all the content we're making and Hot Toys runs out of shit to make. Then they'll be like, let's reissue that Darkseid Anakin or something like that. Then maybe they'll do some shit like that. But or they could just make it artisan and then people will lose their shit. So, which will happen at some point. I mean, it's going to be, the Darkseid Anakin rooted artisan version will be, they're just clearly selling the light side one first. Yeah, exactly. They're selling the light side one first, Keco, because then they know that they're going to get everyone to buy that, get hype about it. Then when that one sells out, they'll say, now you bitches, Darkseid. Like that's what they're going to do. Bro. And they'll probably put a sculpted version up too, Riley, like they did with Joker. And then everyone will be happy. So not everyone, but most people, because not everyone's always going to be happy, but most people. So anyway, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I have a fun topic for the panel here. And I think this is going to be pretty interesting. So we've addressed this topic maybe a few times in the past, right? And this is homework, so not everyone has to, break down their collection and pull the figure out. But I want to ask the question, what is the worst figure in your collection? And chat, weigh in, drop your comment below. What is the worst figure in your collection? Why do you still have that worst figure in your collection? What is it about that figure that made you want to keep it? So I got to ask the question, Keco, what is the worst figure in your collection at this very day? And why do you still have that thing?
It's Gizmo.
It's Gizmo. It's fucking Gizmo, bro.
Gizmo.
It's Gizmo.
That 1/1 masterpiece replica from Metacom. Yeah, it's incredible. Wow. And Riley, that once again shows how young you are for not knowing what Gremlins and Gizmo is.
I didn't either, Keco. Remember when I reacted to your collection?
It is a Christmas movie. So around Christmas, everyone, make sure to get Gremlins out and we will watch. And there's actually, I think there was like an Amazon exclusive cartoon coming out about like the rise of the Mogwai or something like that, and everyone's gonna get hype about that because Gizmo is gonna be front and central. And I think I sent it to you, Riley, and I was like, "Hey,
I think I saw it. Yeah.
But so I think a lot of people are gonna say why they still have it in their collection is because you can't sell them. That's the thing, is that there's no point because it's gonna cost more to ship it than what it's actually worth. So I'm going to do. I always do both, Star Wars and Marvel. I just feel like that's the way I need to do. This may be surprising, but the figure I don't like, and I think the worst figure in my collection, drumroll from Star Wars, is not the Incinerator Trooper, but instead Jango Fett. Ooh. I don't like him. I think he almost looks too, I don't know. He just doesn't have the shelf presence I was hoping for. There's just something about him. Maybe it's because he's sitting next to that piece of shit Grievous, as well as like Dooku. So you're sitting between two really powerful figures. But I don't know. There's just something about it to where I didn't like it. I understand he's screen accurate and all that, but I think he was so anticipated and so hyped. And then once I got him, I'm like, this doesn't feel like this iconic character that I want to have. And so That's the one on the Star Wars side. And then the one on the other side that I can't get rid of on the Marvel thing, I actually just did a TikTok and reel about this, Barber Stan Lee, because you can't get rid of it.
Bro, dude, that fucking TikTok was hilarious, bro.
Because here's the thing. The original Stan Lee, because I have all the Stan Lees, but the original Stan Lee, the one that comes with the chair and like the pencil and the really cool like Art Deco comic looking box, that was the one everyone wanted. Everyone's like, I wish I had a Stan Lee, but I'm not paying $700. That's what it was going for at the time.
Right.
Then they're like, okay, we're going to do a re-release, or not re-release. We're going to do a new version, and they did the Guardians version of him in the spacesuit. Cool. That was really, really neat. And I'm like, okay, I don't have the original Stan Lee at that time. This is the Stan Lee I'm getting. I'm not going to miss it. So I went and got the Stan Lee and the spacesuit from Guardians. Really, really cool figure. I love that shelf present. Comes with a really cool rock that he sits on, the really yellow jumpsuit. It's really, really cool. So then they did it again, like literally 6 months later. And they're like, here's a special exclusive. Here comes Stanny Boy. And I'm like, oh shit. I know how revered these Stan Lees are. I'm not going to miss this one either. And I remember I went to the Totally Rad Toy House here in Nashville because they had gotten one in because it was a retail exclusive at the time. And I was like, oh, sweet. Let me go get this. And they're like, hey, if you post, I'll give you some 30% off if you use your points and 10% post this on Instagram. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I got a steal. So I thought on this Barber Stan Lee, and he looks cool. He's fun. I love the fact of, that's the thing about Stan Lee is that he is so iconic in the Marvel universe, the godfather, the creator of the films, kind of having his little moment in the films. That's cool. And being able to recreate some of those moments, great. But damn, they made way too many of these. Too many people either didn't care or something, but this did not hit. And it's weird because he looks weird standing next to Thor. He looks weird standing next to Loki and Hela. They're like, where do you put him? I understand, like, yeah, he's from Ragnarok, but it's just so odd. The space one from Guardians, he's in a spacesuit, so you can put him next to Groot and Rocket, and he looks kind of cool. But this is almost a little too jarring, and I can't get rid of this thing. Of all the figures I have, I'll never get rid of him and I paid literally just a hair more than just a hair less than retail for this originally because I was like, ooh, baby, I'm not missing out on Stan again. So that's definitely going to be it.
No fucking dude. This thing, man, nowadays you could probably sell. I not even shitting you. Probably like
he was at
$80.
He was at a half price books for $25. You know what half price books is?
What?
No, what's that?
Half price books, like you go and like like McKay's or anyway,
like a Salvation Army or something.
Kind of, you take like you take your books and CDs and all that stuff, and you just sell them there or whatever, and they give you like 10% of what it's worth essentially, and then they just sell them. You can sell like figures and it's like not a consignment shop, but either way, with half price books, you go and buy stuff there. But they sometimes have figures and stereos and things like that. Yeah, homie put this on Reddit. They're like, hey, found a great hot toy deal at half price books, $25 for this piece.
Bro, I've never heard of a $25 hot toy. That's
$25. I'd probably buy it for $25, dude. Same. I'd be like, yeah, I would just sell it. Sell it to them for 80. Yeah, exactly. But so Riley, what figure do you have in your collection do you think is probably the worst one? Why do you still have that figure in your collection?
It's an interesting question. Surprisingly, it's actually going to be a Spider-Man figure, and it is the original TASM 2 Spider-Man figure. I have that figure, not the new one, not the new updated one, which I'm still a little bummed about because of it's not too updated. I don't know. We'll get into that. But the OG TASM 2 Spider-Man is, I don't blame them because it's obviously a really old figure. It's probably like, I'd imagine 10 years old by now or something like that. It's a really tough figure. The proportions just look very weird. The hands are the worst, probably one of the worst ideas they've ever done. They had magnetic like fingertips, so you'd have to exchange them and it wouldn't look seamless at all. It looked really bad. And I have them and they always fall off. It's really bad. So I hate that. The legs, like where the red forms on his leg to his boot, like those would just like fall off. Like you could just literally take them off. It's really weird. I don't get it, man. But yeah, it's not a great figure at this time and age. I'm still have it because obviously I love the TASM 2 movie, the originals, and I love No Way Home. So having him in the collection just worked there. That said, I'm definitely going to get the update. I know I had my thoughts before where I was like, maybe I'll just keep my OG, but at the end of the day, nah, I need the update. And another thing that's really bad is on all the TASM 2 figures, his mask, on the top of his mask, it would always it would discolor, it would turn gray. Like yeah, dude. There's a lot of QC issues with this figure, so that's why it is the worst figure on my shelf. It has a lot of QC problems. I mean, it still looks cool. I have him fighting Venom right over here, but it's gonna be one where I definitely need the update. I was thinking of keeping it and just forgetting about the update because I still am a little bummed with the update. I feel like the eye color is not accurate. Right here, it actually, his eyes look white, which is accurate to the movie, but when it released, it's like gray. They kind of grayed it down a bit, which isn't accurate to the movie, which is really weird. So I don't really get that. But nonetheless, yeah, this is definitely the worst one on my shelf. Definitely.
Dude, Riley, and I'm guessing you're replacing this one with the new one, right?
Yeah, gonna get the new one with the lizard base. So gotta have it for sure.
Dude, No Way Home is this film, Keco. So
yes, sir.
yeah,
The cotton candy.
gotta have it, guys. I gotta surprise you with one of mine. I was just looking back at it, and I was like, what's the worst one up there? I feel like I've curated pretty well at this point, but if I had to pick the worst one, I'm gonna surprise some people with this. It's probably this one. You know why? Because the reason I still have this figure is because it's Rey, and I love Rey. I'm a big fan of the sequels. I love Kylo. I love Rey. I need a Rey. I had the Force Awakens Rey. That was probably my worst. That was probably my worst figure because it was so dated. Like, it just looked very dated. Like, the rest of the figure was great, but the head sculpt just looks like a very old figure, right? The rest of the figure, great. Just that this Rey head sculpt, definitely the better of the two, which is why I decided to keep this one. But this head sculpt still is not quite Daisy Ridley. Like, it's good, it's solid, but I've even had some people walk in and be like, oh, that one doesn't really look like Daisy Ridley. And I was like, yeah, I do agree. Like, I think generally it's pretty good. It's the best one that exists of her, but Hot Toys is still not quite nailed her likeness yet. So I have this one still because I love Rey and I need a Rey, but I don't feel like this figure is top shelf, like, I don't think it's absolutely amazing, but it is Rey. So it comes down to character versus quality. As long as the quality is still pretty good, most collectors will still get it. But, if it's the best one available and they love the character, they'll make the sacrifice. But yeah, I don't know. I would say this is probably the worst for me.
That's an interesting one.
Still a great figure, though. Still a great figure.
I was going to say, what if they did an artisan Rey Skywalker?
Dude, I would probably get that. I would probably be down. I'd probably be down for that.
Another one would be cool is a Kylo Ren. Dude, a rooted
hair. Kylo Ren's
pretty
easy.
Cool.
Yeah, Kylo Ren's easy. I would be like, yeah, I'm in 100%, bro. Like, and I think one thing they could have done too, they didn't paint his helmet chrome for whatever fucking reason. So it should be chrome. So, they could easily do a Kylo, paint it chrome, maybe make the helmet, I don't know, die cast and something on the face plates. Like, you could give Kylo a rooted head sculpt. I would be all in on that. But I don't know if he's that popular of a character that they would actually do that. But yeah. But Rey for me. Guys, let us know in the comments below what you're thinking. What's your worst figure in your collection? Why do you still have that thing? That said, let's ask the question. This is kind of leading into what we just talked about, right? I posted a poll recently, and I asked the people, like, what do you care about more? Do you care about character or do you care about quality more? And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here so people can see the results. So we had 494 votes. This poll didn't get quite as many votes as some of the others that we've run, but essentially I asked the question, would you buy a super high quality figure of a character you don't love, maybe you only like them or indifferent, or do you find yourself caring more about the character first and the quality second? So character is most important, 75%. Quality of the figure is most important, 25%. So generally speaking, most people say obviously both. It's a multi-factored equation. Obviously, both are important. Most people are not going to buy Homelander from Star Age just because they love Homelander, right? It has to be a good quality figure. That said, which is more important? Keco, what do you think? When you're buying figures, do you look more at the character or the quality of the figure if you had to choose one?
That's a real good question because
because like the Min-Man, right? Amazing figure.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I can't deny the fact that InArt knows how to do rooted hair. I mean, they obviously figured that out.
I mean, yeah, they do.
I mean, their Jokers are flawless off the line. Where's Daniel, by the way? Let me know.
He's around, bro. He's around. Daniel's here. Where you at, Daniel?
So with that being said, man, because I go back to Gus from last week. Yeah, the quality of the Mars one, whenever that releases, will probably be better. But I want a Gus to represent on the shelf now. So I'm like, okay, the character does mean more than the quality at this point. And it's decent enough to where like it could technically be a better stand-in even if I don't go the Mars route. But at the same time, do I want to have just a bunch of I know we're saying that, but do I want a bunch of mid quality looking figures? that's like the old way of the way the thing, those are like sideshow pieces at that point. Yeah, you got a bunch of clones from sideshow, and those are really, really poor quality, but you got a lot of characters. So now we have this new thing to where you have all these characters available, but do you want to have continue? It's a perfect example for quarter scale. Do you want to have more niche characters that are quarter scale, really high pieces, or are you just going to do the flagship ones that were higher quality? And I think that goes back to the in-art debate, is that I want the highest quality of the best version of everything. It just depends on what's offered. For me, I don't know if I can fairly even answer this question, just because I'm so back and forth. Because I live in the moment. So I will live with the best quality character that is available now to me. I don't really look too far into the future of like I'll just wait for the 3.0 whenever that comes out, because you never know if that's going to come. I don't know. And so I'm not going to actively pick up a Star Ace figure because I'd love to have the boys, just because those look terrible. I think you make a judgment call on some of those. So I'm going to recuse myself from this question because I don't know if I can answer it. I don't think I can accurately answer it.
Dude, it's a tough one, man. It's tough because obviously it's both, right? It's multifactored. Again, you're looking at the character and the quality. But again, the figure can be amazing quality, but if the character is not one you really care about,
I'll just talk myself in circles one way or the other.
I mean, I guess
I can't decide.
You're probably going to prioritize yourself on other figures if it's not the right character. Like, for example, Moff Gideon. That figure looks great, dude. That figure looks great, but it's Moff Gideon, and it's like, it's just not. It's season 3, and it just is what it is. But Riley, bro, character I think is going to be more important for you, considering you still have that amazing Spider-Man piece. Like, remember, I had the CC Toys Joel and Ellie for a long time, and I loved them, even though they really weren't great figures, because it was Joel and Ellie, right? So at the end of the day, I feel like character for me would be probably the most important, but quality's right there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it is character for me, but like you said, quality is right there. It's kind of just a two-way question. It's hard to answer with that one. But for me, yeah, I'd say character, because that's a lot of the reason why all of us really collect is because of what we see on our screen, what we're watching in the cinema, television shows. We have a genuine care and love for these characters, and we want to represent that on our shelves. And some of them maybe not be the best quality, like I said with my Spider-Man figure, but to me, it still represents Andrew Garfield's portrayal, and I just had to have it on the shelf, so I ended up picking it up. But like you said, it could go the other way, though. Sometimes people look at figures that are so quality that you don't even care as much for the actual character, but you want it because it looks so good. Like, I know one for me, even the Michael Jackson, and I'd say the Pennywise too, because I mean, I like Pennywise. I had the Hot Toys one, but the in-art one, every time I see it, it always tempts me because of how good it looks. It's just such a great looking piece. The rooted hair looks outstanding. So sometimes you don't even have to have as much a love for a character, but you just are amazed with like the actual artistry of the piece and the quality of it, that you're going to go onto that boat and be like, you know what, I'm going to try this out, see how it looks. So I think it's kind of a two-way question, but I'd say character for me is going to be the number one thing. But another thing is where sometimes I don't get characters is a good option. Is one of my favorite characters, like, of all TV shows, is Rick Grimes from Walking Dead. But I know 3-0 has the Walking Dead figures. I don't know if I like them enough, and I think the quality is there enough for me to dive down that line. So I love Walking Dead. I love Rick Grimes, but I'm still just banking on another company. I still have my prayers out there at one day if they can ever tackle it, but I doubt it. But yeah, I know they did recently do this. I think the sculpt is good, but I just feel like something about like their clothing and just tailoring, I just feel like it looks too like cheap to me.
It looks super cheap.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. So maybe I am kind of indifferent, because that's exactly my point. I love Rick Grimes, but the quality is just subpar for me, where I'm just like, I'm going to keep waiting for a premium brand. Like I said, in art, I wish they can do it. I would be insane, but I can't get this. I really.
Well, I'm with you, Riley, because I saw this too, and I also love Rick Grimes, and I would love to have one. But I think it's just, look at the size of the belt buckle, look at the size of the buttons. Like, it just looks.
The pants look like less detailed.
Yeah, it looks very out of proportion. That's my thing. Like, it just, and I think 3-0 does some really great work, but they're so inconsistent. Like, that's the problem. Like, they make an absolute banger, and then they make an absolute opposite of a banger, like they do. They just make. And this Rick Grimes, I mean, the head sculpt looks good, the paint apps don't look that great, and it's like, and it's just the tailoring of the clothes, but the sculpt likeness that is there, like, it's
good,
there.
Yeah,
And the neck still seems fucked up. Like, it almost looks like he has the neck
yeah.
again. Like, but again, if you really love Rick Grimes, you might buy this, right? But I'm with you, Riley. I'm holding out. I'm same with Homelander and the boys figures. Like, I didn't really like the Toys Era ones either, but I really want a Homelander. I really want a Soldier Boy. I really want a Butcher. But it's just, I'm not willing to settle for something I don't think is, worthy of being added to the collection, to put frankly. Like, that's,
right.
So
as you do say, Will, buy nice or buy twice.
It is, bro.
That's
it
true.
is. That's the case, bro. Because if you buy this Rick Grimes and then NR comes out with one, then you're going to sell this one and you're going to go buy the NR one when it releases in 5 years. Like, it's going to eventually, like, it's going to. But I mean, look, 3-0 does a great job. I do think they're a good company. It's just I'm not thrilled with how this looks.
But yeah, it's not appealing.
No, unfortunately. And Walking Dead, it's like kind of I don't know, kind of missed the boat on that one. But so. Anyway, guys, thank you for your thoughts on that one. We got time for one more topic. So we're just going to run through, I think, some tips for collectors here. And guys, let us know your strategies for collecting Hot Toys in 2024, because we're getting pretty close. We're getting close to Q4 sometime here in the next couple of months.
Crazy.
And we're going to talk about, I know, right, bro? Just the year has flown by, bro. Hot Toys has slowed down a little bit for sure, but I mean, they're still pumping out figures at a pretty good rate. So we're probably still going to have 70 plus figure releases by the end of the year. So it's pretty remarkable. But that said, Keco, I got to ask you the question. What tips do you want to give people leading into 2024 for Hot Toys collecting? Because I mean, I think this is going to be a changing year for us. What do you think here?
If you would have asked me this question literally last year at this time, I would give you totally different answers. But I think the market has changed, collecting has changed, the world has changed. So this will be the August edition 2023 of what to do for Hot Toys in 2024. And obviously take these with a grain of salt. But the number one thing for me is that this is what I said originally, because I'll take it back. If there's a figure you want that you think you might want, pre-order it. I know I sound crazy saying that, but at this point, I never thought this whole waitlist debacle and things gone and never coming back was going to be a thing. I did not foresee that. So if there's a figure that's previewed and you're like, ooh, this is the one I'm going to wait. Well, I'll just hold out. When it releases, we'll see. I might be able to get a coupon and, don't do that, because you're going to get bit in the ass, because there's a lot of people that are getting bit in the ass because I told them to hold on. And I feel bad for that. For those people that are mad at me because I said, hold on the clones. Oops. That's on me, y'all. Because I did not foresee that. So if there's something that you want to, are we going 1, 2, 3, or just 1, 1, 1? What
you can just go all three of yours.
Okay, I'll knock them out real quick. So pre-ordering is something I think is really, really important, which also leads to number 2. Only get things that you think you really are going to want. We really get influenced by influencers and people that say, "Ooh, this is can't miss. You're going to regret not having this." If you have Moon Knight, perfect example. If you don't even like the show, you've never read the comic, but you're like, "Damn, this looks really cool. I think he looks great on the shelf." Don't buy Moon Knight. There's no need for that, because that will be the first figure that you end up selling for a loss eventually when it's time that you don't want it anymore, because you're like, oh, well, I thought it would be really, really cool and people would like it on Instagram and all that. Don't do that. So only get the things that you really, really want. And drum roll, number 3, I think, for me, this is going to be really, really important, is, there's a lot of other things I want to say, but I might make people mad. Buy your figures from a place you're comfortable with. Yeah. Don't, because I think there's a, can I just make the Big Chief Studios comment real quick?
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
Okay, so this was a big thing this week, is that Big Chief Studios, who did a lot of the Peaky Blinders, He-Man, things like that. Not He-Man, Flash Gordon. Anyway, they ended up going under. And not just going under, but having to liquidate all their assets. So there's a lot of people that put forward a lot of pre-order money, paid up front, all that. They're not getting anything. So they are out. And so all that to say, I'm not saying people out there that, I'm shilling for this company or whatever. Buy something that you are comfortable with from a place that you feel has a good reputation. I cannot stress this enough, because PayPal protection is only for 6 months, I think, give or take. And even then, you're not guaranteed to get your money back. So buy it from a place that's going to protect you. There's always going to be risk involved whenever you are buying things that are available from overseas, because I think all three of us are stateside here. So we have to figure out ways to get them because we don't live over there. And now if you live out in the other worlds and the other countries and things like that, then find still a place that you are comfortable with, that isn't shady, that's going to be upfront with you, going to be honest, and not going to price gouge you either. I understand that you do need to pay a little bit more for premium stuff and, pay for additional services and exclusivity. That's fine. But don't get taken advantage of. Buy a place that's going to have your back. And, I don't want to be controversial by any means, but if at any moment these companies that you go to and say, well, we're out of money, goodbye, you ain't getting your figures, you're not getting your money back.
Nope.
So I feel like that's super important, especially with the economic climate that we have going right now. So 2024, things aren't looking real great out there. So I think there's going to be more companies that close. Sadly, I think there's going to be more people that lose their jobs. It's a shame. I hate that. And that's also number 3A is buy within your means as well. If you need to make sure that you take care of your family, your house, your car, all that stuff, take care of that stuff before you go and buy anything. I gave you 4, Will, because I think that's important. 4 for 2024. 4 for 2024. So just be careful on those things. So I'll shut up on those. Hopefully everyone understood what I was saying, but
no, those are 4 good ones, dude. Absolutely. Well, Riley, give us 3 to 4, bro. 3 to 4. 3 to 4 tips for buying Hot Toys in 2024. What do you think people should do going into the new year in a couple months?
Well, I know for new collectors, the best advice I would give, which I do always try and talk about, is planning out your actual display rooms, because I think that's something that I've fallen into the hole countless times. So that is the most important thing to me. If you have 0 Hot Toy figures, or maybe you have 2 to 3 and you're starting out, figure out which Hot Toys you're buying, create a list, figure out what you're actually going to have in your shelves, because it's very frustrating to just do it on the spot. I've done that before. I was at Detolves, I was at other cases, and now I'm obviously at Moji cases. I'm trying to figure out, even now with my Moji cases, I still feel like, oh my gosh, I'm still like running out of space. I got to figure out what I'm going to do here, because that's now, even with how long I've been. I think it's been like 2 years of collecting. So for anyone new collecting, it is a big deal. It may not seem like that much. You're like, okay, I'm just gonna get the 1 or 2 figures right now. I'm not gonna get anything, but trust me, you'll fall down the rabbit hole and you'll end up getting more, and you'll be like, damn, I'm running out of space. I need to figure out what to do. And then that unfortunately leads to you having to sell figures, which I obviously have had to do as well, and probably a lot of other people as well. Because when you get your cases, you think you have it all set up and ready, but then Hot Toys drops more announcements with some other just like crazy characters that you just like, it's a must-have for your shelf. You look back at your older figures and you're like, damn, like I can't have this anymore, really, because it would have to get boxed up because there's just no space in my room anymore. So for me, I think that's super important. Plan out your displays, figure out how many figures you're going to get, and just do your research on that. I think that's super important. Another advice I'd say is also following Facebook groups. I think that's another thing for new collectors out there. Facebook is like your go-to. I know when I started collecting, I wasn't on Facebook, because I know it's funny. Every time I'm on Facebook, or if I'm at work or something, or with my friends, they're like, why do you have Facebook, dude? Like, only old people use Facebook.
Toxic as hell.
Really?
Like,
is that what the young people say?
Thing. Yeah, I guess so. Because every time I'm on it, they're like, who uses Facebook, man? I'm like, honestly, I only use it for obviously Hot Toys, because I don't use Facebook other than looking at obviously everyone's collections and seeing the Facebook groups. But hey, that's just how it is, I guess. So make sure you download Facebook if you're new to Hot Toy collecting, because that's going to be your go-to to look at figure collecting advice. Go into the 6-Scale Republic, the buy sell trade groups. You're going to find some great deals on there, some really nice stuff. And third advice, I don't really know, man. Keco took a lot of them.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Trying to think.
No, I mean it's tough, but I'm with you, Riley, on these. I think you have some really good ones
for sure. One thing I'd say is definitely
join Reddit. You can do that too.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Join Reddit. I was also gonna say is on Sideshow itself. I mean, obviously, make sure you have an account on there. That sign up for the what are they called? Like the events they have. They always give you $5 discounts, and always check your rewards, because rewards will expire at some point. I remember sometimes that when a month would end, I didn't realize that they took off some reward points. So make sure you are following that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think you guys are on to something for sure. Plan out your display, order from places that you feel very confident that have your back. I think that's pretty crucial. Always recognize that there could be a better version out there. So I would say don't settle for something you're not completely over the moon with. Like if you're not really thrilled with how this turned out, but you're like, oh, like I'm just going to get it for now. Trust me, eventually you will be dissatisfied rather with that figure. And then eventually you will sell it. And then you probably will take an L on it. And then you will have to go and buy the new version. Again, buy nice or buy twice. If you don't feel, again, nice is a definition that is subjective and it's subject to change. But over time, you'll start to refine your own definition of what nice is. And I think, you got to be pretty confident in your purchase, like Keco said. So I think that's crucial. Plan out your display, Riley. You're 100% right. I mean, you guys have some really, really good ones. I think it's just a matter of, look, you're probably going to have to pre-order. I think you're going to have to start being willing to make decisions in the first 2 weeks of a pre-order, probably 2 weeks to a month. That's how Sideshow is going to drastically react to the market. And that's what they've done. And of course, you also have to get used to exclusivity, not for every figure, but for the top end figures that most people are going to want, you're going to have to be willing to either pay more or fight for them. Like that's just kind of how it is. Right. So, I mean, you just, or prepare yourself better. I mean, the Anakin, we're going to see how that Anakin and that Joker go next week because that's I mean, we already saw Keco. We already saw the Spider-Man, right? That went fairly well. Some people said the site was crashing, whatever. Anakin Joker is a whole nother level. So this is we're going to really see how this goes and how the community reacts. And so we're going to see, but I mean, I would say that'd be the big other thing. Displays are super important. I think that's super important, Riley and Keco. I think just planning out your display, but also classing up your display, having good cases like Module cases, DTOFs, whatever you want to use, garage shelf, custom ones, put some effort into your display because that's going to really take it to the next level. I promise you. Don't buy from Toys Wonderland. That would be that. I mean, just put bluntly, that's what I would say. Look, everyone can do what they want. If you want to buy from T-Dubs and you've never had a problem, fantastic. But I would not buy from them. I would not recommend buying from them. So everyone can do what they want, but I just think you're rolling the dice. But maybe they'll change for the better. Who knows? But I would say overall, those would be my recommendations. So, guys, let us know in the comments below what you're thinking. What strategies are you using going into 2024? Are things changing? What are you planning to do, and so forth? So, that said, guys, we're going to wrap it there. So thank you so much. Oh, we do have a super chat. I just forgot. Sorry. We did it and that popped up on screen. So Guillermo, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Guillermo. Shout out to Riley Reviews. Shout out, bro. $5 super chat to Riley. He sold me a figure in the morning. Great deal. Cool to meet you, bro. Right. Did you meet him in person, Riley?
I did. So I posted it on OfferUp because it's like a buy sell trade, but it's like in person stuff. You can just meet up. It's called OfferUp. I've listed actually I didn't even tell you guys I sold my Thanos, but I also sold my Iron Man Mark 7, the Avengers one, dude.
Dude,
I got it.
I have that one. I love that one.
I love the figure, dude. But for me, I think Iron Man, I only need one. I only need one Iron Man, and we have the Mark 3 2.0, and I'm definitely getting that one. So that's gonna be my definitive Iron Man. But Guillermo, shout out to him. He met me. I posted the post and he met me in the morning and he was like, "Oh, are you Riley Reviews? I watch you on YouTube." I was like, "Oh, snap!" So huge shout out to him. He was able to notice that. So.
Dude, that's fucking cool. I think I've got to meet a couple people with selling stuff. I met Lenny Hughes. Shout out to him. He's a mod in 16 Republic BST. He drove from New York to buy the Module case. It's super cool, dude. I haven't been able to meet too many other collectors, but I definitely want to. So
it's awesome, man.
If I go to a con or something, I am going to be at the Last of Us thing in Orlando this September. Nice. So if anyone's going to that, I'll see you there. So it's the Universal Horror Halloween Nights or whatever. Like that's super excited about that, bro. Awesome. Super excited. So Guillermo, thanks, bro, for the super chat. We got another one, 12-inch Moose Stream. Thank you so much. $10. My greatest joy in figure collecting this year is finding figures that I truly want at a bargain price. And they're out there. I don't overpay. I bought Alien Ripley. Nice. 256 min in box, 66 Robin, min in box, 223 bar. Dude, see, that's what we talked about with the exclusivity thing too. The hunt is fun, dude. It's fun. Yeah. Like you're not always going to succeed.
I know I'm not crazy.
And that's what, dude, I tell people this story again. I'll show, the Last of Us art print, right? Like I had to pay a lot for it, but the difficult part really was the hunt, finding someone who was even willing to sell it to me. Like that's the fun. When you find a piece you really, really, really want and you have to go searching, it might take you months or even years to find. It took me months to find that.
Yeah.
Months.
Like my Ecto 1, it took me years.
Yeah, it did, bro. Because Carlos kept fucking around. That's why. Because Carlos
it's about to be like that for the Anakin. A lot of people are
I know with the
chasing
Anakin. So we're gonna see. Some people have already paid $600-700 to Pop
Yeah.
Collectibles or whoever for that Anakin just because they want it that bad. Like, you know, some of the hunt. Yeah, it's just So, but anyway, thank you so much, 12-inch Moose Stream, bro. Super awesome, bro. You've been hunting bargains. I'm very proud, man. That's fucking dope. So. Yeah, man, super cool. So, guys, thank you so much for joining and thank you so much for engaging. Of course, we've got tons of other content and live streams coming. But before we get into all that, Keco Collects. What's up on Threads, bro?
I think I officially uninstalled that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Every time I bring up Keco, I'm like, what's up on Threads, dude?
That's not on there on the ticker anymore.
No, I never. Okay, I don't think I ever put it on there.
Oh my god, boy, that was cool. Like 3 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, not much going on, man. I want to make sure I'm enjoying what I'm doing content wise. I don't want it to be work or feeling like I have to put something, and I just don't feel like doing anything right now except working and spending time with the weens. If my neighbor would let me sleep and stop smoking all fucking day, I might be able to put some more content out there. So I love that we bookended our stories today about the man outside. But yeah, make sure you are still subscribed and following. You know, I do put out a reel from time to time. It's been a while since I've done some YouTube stuff, but I do put out some, what are they called, shorts, what all the ladies like. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So I do, if you comment, I always make sure to comment on everything that ever comes in, nice or bad. So feel free to do so.
I mean, this is the king of IG, guys. I always call Keco the king of IG. Riley's right. Riley's the queen of IG because Riley's the queen of IG, bro. He's second place. Like, so yeah, because Riley has a young dude's brain. Keco, you know what I mean?
He knows the trendy stuff.
Yeah, he knows
I'm sitting here like this old man, like,
yeah, that's pretty much trying to find my phone. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's like I'm posting like my reels. I'm like, this is cool. I edited it together and shit. And then like hardly anyone likes it. And Riley posts like this fucking like meme or something, and it gets like 50 times the likes. So I'm like, Riley knows fucking young people, dude. I gotta.
It's an algorithm, man.
Yeah,
set trendsetter. Come on, baby.
You are, dude. You are absolutely. You and Keco. Like I just follow your guys' trends on Instagram and shit. But Riley, what's coming up on the YouTube, on the gram, dude?
Dude, well, firstly, thank you for having me on.
Dude,
great show.
Thanks for
Love
joining.
the Fridays. I had Karen Collects with all the hot, spicy topics. I love it. But on my channel right now, just been posting, my usual YouTube videos, preview videos. I've been a little slower on YouTube, but Instagram, I've been posting little reels. Are a lot easier, like 6-second videos, and shorts on YouTube. Those are also have been popping out. But overall, got that coming. We did hit 2,500 on YouTube, so thank you so much for the support, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So you can find me on Riley Reviews there. Gonna be posting some more videos soon. But it's been a great summer, man. Just been relaxing, spending some time with the family, just friends, etc. But we're going back to school soon though, so that sucks. But thank you. Yeah, it was a great time, dude. I love this show. It's a great time. And Will, you're killing it, man, on YouTube. You're doing great,
dude. I wish, bro. I wish I was killing it like you and Keco. So dude, it's
the lies.
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate the kind words. I'm trying to bring people something exciting. I will say, Riley, you gave us a good segue because I do got an interesting show. I think the show is going to be happening tomorrow, so I'll post an update on the live stream, dude. This is going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be an all-female panel, except for me. So I'm gonna be hosting.
So you're the ladies' man.
So yes, I'm gonna be the. I got it's only actually 2 because I wanted to keep it kind of like this show, like 2. But basically, what we're gonna do is probably tomorrow night. So guys, you're gonna want to tune in. It's still gonna be Hot Toys discussion. I'm just gonna ask. Like, I feel like there are female collectors who are in the community influencing and making good content, but I feel like we don't hear from them enough. And I kind of want to I want to be careful not to trend too much in the way of like, oh, I only care about their group identity, but I want to get their perspective that we don't really get as much of. So there's going to be some female collectors that are on.
Hey,
tomorrow.
Make sure you got the Clone Wars jacket. You got it,
right? Dude.
Nah,
these are women. I know. It's actually in the chat. So Natalie G will be one of them, and Gina B collecting. Yeah, so those are going to be the 2. Sweet. So they're going to be on here. Hopefully tomorrow. I think we should be tomorrow. So I got the topics ready. But guys, if you would tune into that one, should be like 6 or 7 Eastern tomorrow night. So we're going to try to do that. And I'll be streaming with PJ and Optical again soon, maybe Sunday for that one. But yeah, so we're going to do something with the ladies. And again, if the Saturday show goes well and people like it, then, we can do more of them and bring on different female collectors, because I do want to get female collectors involved, because I feel like I joke all the time about the analytics, like 3% watching. Like, it's hard to get the female collectors involved. And sometimes they kind of sit in the shadows, maybe because they're a little bit shy, or maybe it's a lot of men. And, so we want to kind of get them involved. So, think it should be fun. So anyway, guys, watch out for that. Watch out for stream with Optical and I put out a bunch of videos today, and I had to drop all the clips with Justin and I. Justin and I did a stream last night. So or tonight, whatever it was. So yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. For the super chats, you guys have been amazing. There'll be lots more content coming on this channel, lots of ideas in the works. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think and drop some comments. I'll try to answer them. Have a good weekend. Peace out. Thank you to Riley. Thank you to Keco, the kings and queens of Instagram. Guys, thank you so much.